Powered by an offense that seemed unstoppable, the Gamblers started fast in 1985 with 5 straight victories. Kelly seemed invincible. His receivers were simply phenomenal, but just as quickly as Gambler magic struck, it disappeared. At crucial times, the potent Gambler offense was silenced by opposing defenses. And things got worse when against Arizona, Kelly injured his right knee on the last play of the first half. The following week, Kelly, reduced to a cheerleader, could only watch as backup quarterback Todd Dillon led a gallant Gamblers rally against Birmingham. Needing a 2-point conversion to force overtime, the Gamblers' Sam Harrell fumbled at the 2-yard line. Then last week against Denver, the Gamblers once again came up short when Jim Asmus kicked a last-second field goal to defeat Houston 16-13. Tonight, still minus Kelly, the Gamblers must defeat San Antonio to keep their playoff hopes alive. Welcome to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The San Antonio Gunslingers, who snapped an 8-game losing streak last week with a win against the LA Express, and the Houston Gamblers, who've lost 5 of their last 6 and 2 in a row. These are the playoff qualifiers in the United States Football League, and you don't see the name Houston there. However, with a victory tonight, the Houston Gamblers can clinch a playoff spot. If they lose, they bring Jacksonville back in the picture. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger Twybo, along with Mike Hafner. Thanks for being with us on this Monday night. The bottom line is, Mike, if Houston doesn't beat San Antonio, they really don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. They have to play Oakland on the last game of the season, and if they don't win tonight, you're right. They don't belong in the playoffs. What they've got to do, though, is on offense, involve Richard Johnson. He is the all-time leading pass receiver, 115 catches in one season. He only caught 3 last week, and if Todd Dillon doesn't get him into the offense, then they're going to give San Antonio an opening.
One thing about the San Antonio Gunslingers all year, through all the turmoil, they have played good defense. They're the top defensive team in the West. They've got a heck of a defensive secondary coach in Bill Bradley, and they will cause some problems for the Houston offense.
They've played very, very well against the run and shoot, not only against Houston, but against Denver also, kept them under 200 yards passing. They'll try to double Johnson tonight, take him out of the offense for Houston, but their number one asset is they don't have to face Jim Kelly.
This is an intense rivalry in the state of Texas. In 3 previous meetings, the Houston Gamblers have won all 3 games. San Antonio, there's not much left in their season. A win against Houston would make their year. Kickoffs coming up from the Astrodome in just a moment. Next to last game of the year for these 2 teams in the regular season, there's Gil Stanke, the head coach last year at San Antonio, took over when Jim Bates resigned earlier this season. Stanke, a former collegiate head coach at Texas A&I, and there is Jack Party, the head coach of the Houston Gamblers, who says we need a win and we need it bad because just emotionally, psychologically, things have just not gone well. They've lost 5 of their last 6, and Mike, they've lost a couple of close games the last few weeks.
Yeah, and they lost a couple with Kelly at quarterback, so you can't really blame Todd Dillon. There are other problems with this team, and I've got a feeling one is, are they going to play here next year or aren't they? And the guys are trying to figure that out.
Frank Corral will kick it off for Houston, and back deep for the San Antonio Gunslingers will be 21 Marcus Bonner. As I mentioned, these 2 teams have met 3 times before. Houston dumped San Antonio twice last year, 35-7 and 29-26. Earlier this year, a 38-29 victory in San Antonio. Bonner at the 5. Bonner across the 25 up to the 28-yard line of the Houston Gamblers. One of the men in on the tackle was Lloyd Lewis, number 68, and San Antonio will put it in play. Rick Neuheisel is the quarterback, and some changes in the offense tonight. Kevin Williams and Frank Lockett will be the wide receivers. George Works, Scott Stamper, the running backs. The left tackle is Mark Jenkins. Rod Walters, 70, the left guard. Rich Garza, the center, 61. Pete Spiros will start in the place of Arlen Thompson at right guard, and Ralph Williams, 71, at right tackle. You remember Lee Spivey threatened to sue the San Antonio owner, so he was unceremoniously waived a couple of weeks ago. That was Roberts, who's moved out to the near side. Their leading pass receiver. Neuheisel going down the middle. Pass is broken up. The intended receiver was Joey Hackett, the tight end. Kiki Diala, one of the players back there, and Luther Bradley, number 27. Mike, this the defensive side of the Houston Gamblers. Their secondary, which leads the United States Football League in pass interceptions, and defensively for the Gamblers, Ross Browner, Tony Fitzpatrick, Hosea Taylor, and Pete Caton up front. Meanwhile, linebacker Mike Hawkins and Andy Hawkins and Diala, Mike Mitchell, Will Lewis, Luther Bradley, and Derwood Rockmore in the secondary.
You made that comment. They lead in interceptions, but they're dead last in pass defense.
2nd and 10 for San Antonio. Right up the middle, and that's Roberts. He gets across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Well, that is misleading when you talk about the Houston defense. And just to give you an example, the Houston defense gave up 462 net yards against Denver, but they held the goal to 3 field goals and a touchdown and 8 possessions inside the Gambler 25-yard line. So they bend a lot, but they don't break a lot.
They don't let the touchdowns, and that's the key to this game. Hey, at the end of the game, you look up on the scoreboard, whoever is ahead is the one that did the best job.
And they also got to Bob Galliano on 5 different occasions. 3rd down and 6. Neuheisel out of trouble. He'll be very close to the first down. Kiki Diala, the leading tackler for the Houston Gamblers, in on the stop. And they're going to mark that at the 39-yard line, and that'll be enough for a San Antonio first down.
I asked Rick Neuheisel before the game, I said, Rick, what are you going to do this fall now that you're going to have to wait for 14 months to play? He said, I was accepted to USC's law school, University of Southern California, and I know his mom in Phoenix is super happy that he's going to go to school and be a lawyer.
Do they let former Bruins go to
I don't know.
At Southern Cal?
He says, hey, UCLA wouldn't let me in. That's the only place I could go.
Kevin Williams comes to the near side. Frank Lockett's in the game to the far side of the field. 1st and 10, 39-yard line. This is Don Roberts. Roberts gets across the 40 to the 41. It's that man, Kiki Diala, in on the tackle, and what a linebacker he is.
Out of Texas A&I, and his biggest University of Texas.
Watch out for those Longhorns.
Yeah, the 2 A&I guys are on the outside. Watch how quick he is. He reads so well. He might not be the biggest linebacker, but the key is to get the angles on the running back, and he's so quick, and he reads so well. Kiki is an outstanding middle linebacker for his weight. 89 tackles, 31 assists coming into this game. 2nd and 7 from the 42-yard line. Receiver was 81 Joey Hackett. On the coverage for the Houston Gamblers, Derwood Rockmore. And they've tried to go to the tight end twice so far, and that's something San Antonio didn't do earlier this year, Mike. They didn't, and when Rick Neuheisel was on the bench, they weren't throwing to the tight ends at all. Oh, tough catch. Threw it behind him. That's the toughest catch in football to make. But Joey Hackett is the 2nd leading receiver. The 1st leading receiver is Don Roberts out of the backfield, so you know the problems they've had at wide receiver.
That particular play, it's a good thing Neuheisel threw it behind him because Rockmore would have picked it off.
Yep.
3rd down and 7 for the San Antonio Gunslingers, who've completed over 33% of their 3rd down situations this year. Almost intercepted. Houston Gamblers' Mike Mitchell was the man who got a hand on the football, and there's a penalty marker down. It's going to be holding.
Penalties decline. 4th down.
Bill Parkinson, the referee, John Bradley, the umpire, Robert Walker, the head linesman, Richard Sands, the line judge, Bill Richardson, the back judge, Willie Spencer's the side judge, James Fogelance, the field judge, and Bob Finley is the review official upstairs. This is Nick Mickemeyer, who handles both the placements and the punting.
I wouldn't kick it to that guy standing right there, would you?
Well, he's the best in the United States Football League, and he's back at the 15-yard line. Mickemeyer standing at his own 27. Mickemeyer will angle it to the near side. Now it hooks back in. McNeil with plenty of room. He has got room, and he runs into his own man. Oh, and then he is nailed. McNeil ran into Dennis Devon, and he had some clear sailing down the far sideline. A penalty marker has been dropped.
Holding. Post-possession foul. Number 35 on the receivers. The penalty enforced. The post-possession Position spot.
Holding was Mike Mitchell of the Houston Gamblers. Now watch what happens. They have the wall set up perfectly, Mike.
I'll tell you what, Roger, he goes all the way here if he doesn't get that black shirt right in front of him. And this is as much McNeil's fault as anybody else's. He couldn't read it.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Now watch him get stuck from behind.
Yeah, now he's going to pay for his
out.
mistake. Oh, goodness.
Reggie Oliver.
Yeah.
Hello. Time out on the field. We'll be back to the Astrodome in just a moment. And in motion is Clarence Verdun. Dillon finds McNeil at the 18-yard line. The pass is completed. Set the rest of the Gamblers' offense for you. Rob Taylor, 71, is the left tackle. Rick Kerr, 74, the left guard. Billy Kidd is the center. Dan Rosado is the right guard. And Tommy Robinson, the right tackle. Clarence Verdun has been bothered by a shoulder injury. There was some question, Mike, whether he would start tonight or not, but he did move back into the starting lineup.
He has been banged up. Had a bad knee for a while, then the shoulder went. And that's been part of their problem. Ricky Sanders missed most of the beginning of the season. There goes Verdun out.
Well, Verdun goes out, and Sanders checks into the game on 2nd and 1 from the 17-yard line. That's Richard Johnson in motion, 22. Dillon has Harrell. Little stutter step, more than enough for the first down, up to the 27-yard line. And in on the tackle was Putz Schote, 55, and he is the heart and soul of that San Antonio Gunslinger defense, ranked first in the West. Greg Fields, 99, is the left end. Ivan Lesnick, 95, the left tackle. Paul Hanna, 65, is the right tackle. And Jeff Chapin, 77, the right end. Reggie Oliver is the left side linebacker. Putz Schote will be in the middle. Then the secondary, and they use that 5 back. Leon Williams, 29, Charles Armstead, 44, Vic Miner, 25, Clyde Johnson, 32, and Larry James, 24, on 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Terrell in the draw play, and he gets little or nothing. 65, Paul Hanna, starting in the place of the injured Benny Smith, makes the tackle.
Roger, if the running attack for Houston does not work, that means nobody's threatened by the passing attack. And more than likely, because the fact that Jim Kelly's out of there, the running game has really been hurt.
Got a San Antonio Gunslinger player down on the field. 9:43 left to go. First quarter from the Astrodome. No score between the Gamblers and the Gunslingers. We'll return to the Dome in just a moment. Dillon's got to run with it. And he's tripped up by Paul Hanna. Dillon is a very capable runner. We saw him in the game, Mike, against Birmingham. He ran with the football at Cal State Long Beach when he was the total offensive leader in the nation his junior year. But I don't know if Jack Pardee really wants him to scramble too much with him.
With Kelly out, then you're really deep in with Threadgill.
Leaving yourself wide open for serious trouble. By the way, Jim Kelly has not started any rehabilitation yet. And it's a process. They said 5 to 6 weeks. Hopefully, they said in the next week or so, they'd like to see him start doing some work if the knee feels well enough. And Todd Fowler is nailed. Count it to Reggie Oliver, 52. And Fowler is dropped at the 35-yard line, and that's the second good hit of the night by Reggie Oliver. There is Kelly moving his way down. He's discarded the crutches. He doesn't have the walking cast on any longer. And you know he is anxious to get back in there.
Oh, all good athletes, to get the itch when it doesn't hurt anymore and you're not restricted anymore. Now he wants to play, but it's going to be a couple more weeks.
4th and 2, and Frank Corral will come into the game to punt it, standing at his own 20-yard line.
A line drive punter, and San Antonio thinks they can bring it back on it.
And there's a perfect example of the line drive. Mike Ulmer is the man that lets it roll, and it'll roll inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. 7:50 to go. First quarter. We'll be back to the Astrodome in a moment. Final game of the season for the LA Express and the Orlando Renegades, and maybe not a moment too soon. The Express has struggled all year. The coaching staff's already been fired, and they'll probably get a good turnout in Orlando, though. They've supported the team well down there.
They have.
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. San Antonio, and a good pickup right there by Scott Stamper. A stumpy running back. Across the 20-yard line out to about the 22, and there's what Stamper has done so far this year. Very versatile back. They use him in short yardage situations.
Hard, straight-ahead runner. The kind that doesn't lose a lot of yardage, but doesn't gain a lot either.
We talked about the Express's final game. Last week, San Antonio snapped an 8-game losing streak with a 31-27 win over L.A., and the Gunslingers amassed 398 yards in offense, and that was the best in the franchise history. And this young man had a very good game last week. 2nd and 3 from the 22-yard line. They swing it out. Stamper, the intended receiver, and Neuheisel just threw it behind him.
That's a tough pass to throw, Roger. You're coming out direct angle from you, and you've got to lead it just perfectly. It's easy to throw it behind, over their head, too far in front. Rick's a better quarterback than that, though. He can complete this. 2nd worst offense in the United States Football League against the worst defense tonight. But we've said that's a bit of a misleading stat. 3rd down and 3 from the 22-yard line. You measure defenses in points. The guys in the black shirts are pretty good.
Neuheisel's looking for Lockett. He's going to run it. He's got the 1st down. Across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Where 59, Andy Hawkins, one of the linebacking Hawkins brothers, comes up to make the stop. And I don't know if Rick slid exactly the way he wanted to on that particular play. It looked like he went for the hook slide. Hawkins might have stuck him pretty good in the hip.
Can't touch the quarterback once he's down if he does the hook slide, but if his head's forward, he's driving, fair game.
And that's where you get hurt.
Yes.
Just over 6 minutes to go. First quarter. No score between San Antonio and Houston, and Don Roberts comes out to the near side. Gordon and Lockett split to the far side. Right up the middle with it. Stamper gets maybe to the line of scrimmage. He's stacked up inside by that Gamblers defense. Tony Fitzpatrick, Hosea Taylor, Ross Browner, Pete Caton, the men up front for the Houston Gamblers. You know, Mike, even though their defense is ranked 13th in the league, Houston's allowed the 7th fewest points in the USFL. They're 9th against the rush, last against the pass, even though they lead the league in interceptions.
They should rank teams by the number of points you give up per game and not by number of yards, because it makes it deceiving.
2nd and 9 from the 28. Neuheisel looking to Gordon near side, and what a fine defensive play by Mike Mitchell. Even though the pass was underthrown, it was catchable, and Mitchell stuck a hand in and knocked it away.
2 fine cornerbacks for Houston, Will Lewis and Mike Mitchell. This is just a quick out pass, and you've got to guess a little bit to get that close. And Mitchell knows that they run the quick out to Gordon, and he guessed right that time, got a hand in. Good play by Mike Mitchell.
Been told that Ivan Lesnick has a sprained left knee, and he will not be back tonight. 3rd down and 9, 28-yard line. Jerry Gordon splits to the near side. Roberts and Stamper, the running backs. Neuheisel hanging tough, and he just throws it up for grabs. Roberts was the intended receiver. Rick stayed in the pocket as long as he could, but he just got surrounded, and I don't think he knew Roberts was over there. He just couldn't see him.
A lot of pressure by Pete Caton, the former All-Pro. He was All-Pro last year. 77, top of your screen. The way to beat a guy is an outside move, and there was the outside spin move. Yeah, you got to admire Neuheisel for hanging in there. He could feel Caton coming out his back, and that's the reason. He had to throw it too quickly. Roberts was open, but he was open late.
Caton's the leading sack man for the Gamblers with 8, and Mickemeyer for his 2nd punt. He'll be standing back at the 13-yard line, and there's McNeil, had a chance to bust it last time. Ran into one of his own teammates. Boy, a low spiral kick. McNeil will let it bounce, and that's a mistake. As it rolls inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line, and Mike, it appeared to me that McNeil could have grabbed that on the run.
Should always catch the short punt. That's the rule.
A mental mistake by the Houston Gamblers. They'll have it with 4:51 to go when we return. Roger Schweibel, Mike Hafner back with you at the Astrodome, and this is Gerald McNeil little indecision on this punt.
The coach tells you this: anything in front of you, you field. Anything over your head, you put your hand up for a fair catch. And that's just silliness. Mike Ulmer did the same thing for San Antonio. Let the short punt go.
Cost him about 30 yards.
At least, and if he'd have caught it, he might have gained 20 yards, so it could have cost him 50 in total.
Johnson in motion, 1st and 10 from the 7-yard line, and Fowler will take it up the middle. Todd Fowler, soon to be a Dallas Cowboy. If Houston makes the playoffs, Fowler's not going to have a lot of time to rest before training camp starts out in Thousand Oaks, California.
I think it's about July 15th. He might walk right off the field in a playoff game right into training camp. He's going to be tired.
That's got to be tough, and also leaves you really susceptible to injuries when you've played that many games.
If Dallas is smart, they'll work him in slowly and probably won't give him any playing time till midseason.
Houston has outscored their opposition 137 to 57 in the first quarter of games so far this year. We've got 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter. There's no score between San Antonio and Houston. 2nd and 6. Sam Harrell. And no room to go anywhere as once again Reggie Oliver with his 3rd fine play of the night.
Reggie Oliver starting tonight in place of D'Amico, and the reason is because of his quickness. And you try to run outside on Reggie Oliver, he's got as much speed as Sam Harrell.
I don't think that option fooled anybody with Dillon taking a couple steps down the line.
Not a great fake at all. You've got to throw the football to set up the run with the run and shoot. And when you're backed up against your own goal line, you got to be throwing the football here. That's what they do best.
San Antonio's been outscored 79-40 in the first quarter of games this year. Right now, 3rd and 7 for Houston, who's completed 40% of their 3rd down plays. Going deep, McNeil. Make that Vince Corville on the far side.
Great catch, great throw.
And they're going to call it back. He was not in. Corville 83, McNeil 13, all those little wide receivers of the Houston Gamblers.
83, Vince Corville got to have 2 feet in. Did he get any in? None. He was totally out of bounds. Nice catch, though. Problem was he was about 5 yards out of bounds. No red flag on that one. That was right in front of Jack Pardee. You could see that he was out.
Corral about 7 yards deep in the end zone on 4th and 7. And back deep for San Antonio, Mike Ulmer. And Corral barely got that off. Matter of fact, they might have gotten a piece of it. But it works very well as it rolls inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. A lot of pressure on Corral that time.
I think they got a hand on it, Roger. Take a look. Again, he gets the low line drive off, but the way it was wobbling, it looked like somebody got a hand on it. Just maybe.
Could have been Charles Armstead, 44, busted through. We'll return to the Dome in just 1 minute. Jacksonville finished at 9-9. It doesn't do them any good. They're out of the playoff picture. As Roberts takes it across the 45 to the 47-yard line, it's basically this. If Houston wins tonight, they are in the USFL playoffs, and Jacksonville is not. If, though, Houston finishes at 9-9, Jacksonville at 9-9, Arizona 9-9, Houston will go to the playoffs. If Jacksonville finishes at 9-9, and Houston finishes at 9-9, Jacksonville goes. All right? Everyone's clear on that? We will give you a written exam at the end of the evening. 2nd and 7 for San Antonio as Roberts splits out to the near side. George Works has not been in the game. He's been a little bit banged up, so Stamper has been playing all the way, and Stamper goes nowhere. 93, Hosea Taylor, one of the men on top of him. And also down in the bottom, Pete Caton, number 77.
Caught him in a little twist on the pass rush, and the draw play usually doesn't work when they're going inside, outside on the pass rush, and you'll see why it doesn't work. He runs right into Hosea Taylor. Thank you. Sorry about that draw play, Scott.
San Antonio Gunslingers, this has been a season of turmoil for them. And
missed a paycheck again this week, didn't they?
Yeah, they missed a paycheck Tuesday, and another grievance will be filed with the USFL Players Association. As Neuheisel can't break loose, and he's brought down, and the man in there was Tony Fitzpatrick. Sack number 3 on the year for Fitzpatrick, who's missed most of this year because of injuries.
And it really hurt him because Tony Fitzpatrick was the key guy on the inside. Now, he makes the good rush, but because Neuheisel stepped up and Fitzpatrick was getting blocked, he made the inside move. Walked right into the quarterback. Yeah, they missed Fitzpatrick. That really hurt him about mid-season when he was out.
Well, they got 5 sacks last week against the Denver Gold and Bob Galliano. And Mickemeyer back at the 25, getting set to punt on a 4th and 13. McNeil's had a very strange night for punt return so far. Had a chance to bust the first one, and Mickemeyer off the side of his foot to the near sideline, and they're going to mark it at the 37-yard line. A penalty marker is down on the floor. Penalty marker is down on the floor of the Astrodome.
Illegal man downfield, number 77 on the offense.
So the penalty is against San Antonio, and it's going to be declined because Houston will pick it up with outstanding field position.
About an 18, 19-yard kick. Mickemeyer trying to concentrate, but he can feel the pressure coming from the outside. He's got a couple of low kicks. He also knows number 13, McNeil's back there. Picked his head up a little bit too quick, went right up the side of his foot.
The way he hits the ball, Mike, is almost like a golfer hitting a draw. He hits it right to left, and he turns the ball over a little, tries to hook it.
Same as his soccer-style kick when he's kicking field goals and extra points.
1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Just 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Dillon downfield, and he's got McNeil in San Antonio territory at the 48-yard line. Gerald McNeil with the reception.
This is against zone defense. And when you're running zone, see, the linebacker has the responsibility for stopping the short pass, and he got caught up inside, and that just left McNeil wide open. Dillon put it right on him for the first down, stopped the clock, too.
McNeil with better than 50 catches, and they didn't stop the clock. They let it run. Well, he wasn't out of bounds. We'll be back with the second quarter from the Astrodome right after this. Roger Twyville, Mike After back with you. Richard Johnson has not caught a pass yet tonight. He only caught 3 last week. Why?
They're double teaming him, and the quarterback reads double coverage. He goes to another receiver.
That time, Dillon looked his way, went down to McGee, and they said no, he trapped the football. Dillon's initial look that time was to Johnson, then decided to go to McGee. Now, is it easier for Dillon to find his wideouts rather than his slots?
Yes, because they're double teaming the slot on the inside, so there's lots of congestion, especially if you put him in motion. So you run the hook back inside, and he's wide open.
That time, Johnson came to the near side, and McGee cut inside, and he went to McGee.
Well, he drew the linebacker with him with double coverage, so you run the hook pass, and there's no linebacker to stop the hook.
2nd and 10. Johnson's in motion to the near side. They'll go to McNeil on the other side. He cuts it back up the middle. He's down to the 40-yard line, a couple of yards short of a first down. Putt showed 55. One of the men in there for the San Antonio Gunslingers. Boy, McNeil takes some big hits when you start running in the middle, don't you?
I'll tell you, at 5'8" and 142 pounds, I get scared when he gets going full speed where linebackers can get a shot at him. Somebody's going to leave him cut in half one of these days.
We noticed a couple of weeks ago a tendency by Todd Dillon to not want to go down the middle so much. And the only time he would be just real short stuff. Why is that?
Well, one, he's afraid of getting it picked off. And 2, he didn't really have the big arm that Jim Kelly does to throw it out there where only the receiver can catch it.
Dillon's thrown 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Penalty marker went down.
False start on the right guard on the offense. Still 3rd down.
False start on Dan Rosato, the right guard for the Houston Gamblers. Well, that's the consequences of being an offensive lineman.
Yep, they always point out your number, who did the boo-boo. Never say when you make a great block.
No. Never get any of the credit.
An old offensive lineman talking here, folks, I'll remind you.
Some cold, lonely night, a quarterback might take you out and buy you dinner.
Maybe.
But that's the exception rather than the rule.
No kidding.
3rd and 8. Johnson in motion. A lot of people coming for San Antonio. He's got McGee. First down for the Houston Gamblers. Williams makes a stop, but boy, a fine job that time by Todd Dillon. And there's a man down at midfield. It's Jim Bob Morris, who was blitzing on that play. One of the very tough defenders for the San Antonio Gunslingers. And they're looking at the right knee. We're just underway. Second quarter action from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. And there's the Gunslingers Armadillo. I don't have a clue to who that is.
Funny rabbit, I guess. I don't know what that's got to do with gamblers.
And of course, the all-familiar Armadillo.
Yeah.
Harrell stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Jim Bob Morris was helped off the field. Appeared to be a injury to the right knee. Brad Nye is checked into the game. One of the men in on that tackle. There's Sam Harrell, and one of the things about the Gamblers this year, they have never really gotten the running game going at all.
Todd Fowler was hurt coming in, same kind of knee injury as Jim Kelly sustained 4 weeks ago. And Harrell was hurt at the end of last year with a broken leg, so neither one of them got it cranked up, and there's Jim Bob.
2nd and 10. Sanders in motion to the far side. Looking for McGee. He's got it inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Larry James was the man that finally brought him down, and I see Todd Dillon casting an eye in the direction of Scott McGee for most of this game.
Todd Dillon looking for number 88, but here's that pass that you asked about, Roger. Downfield in the seam, and I'll show you why he doesn't like to throw it. It almost gets picked off. He only has 4 TD passes compared to 5 interceptions, and that's not a good ratio. But you see that, he took it right away from the defensive back. Scott McGee, great catch.
Charles Armstead was the man that was right there. So the Houston Gamblers first and goal at the 9-yard line, 12-20. Left to go first half. Sanders, the man in motion. Down the middle, right through the hands and intercepted by Armstead. Armstead has got all kinds of room. It's a foot race. Dillon misses him. One man left. Armstead goes 103 yards for the touchdown. Third interception of the year for Charles Armstead.
Roger, the ball got tipped. He had an open receiver. Watched the pass from Dillon. Looking over the middle. He's got Richard Johnson. It goes right off his hands, and then, hello. Armstead is right there, and as you said, it's nothing but a foot race. And I'll tell you what, the piano got on his back at about the 30-yard line. And there's a great block on McNeil to keep his speed out of it.
Dillon made a dive. And there was one man left. And that was Billy Kidd, the center, and he couldn't catch him. That is a USFL record. Nickemeyer to attempt the point after. Penalty markers are down. The point after is good. It appeared as though Houston jumped offside.
Well, that'd take the wind out of your sails.
In a hurry.
Get down to the 9-yard line. The first play, you get it picked off.
The defense is offside. The point is good. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Again, that crossing pattern that Houston loves to run with their slot backs when they get inside the 10-yard line. It's their goal line pass. Dillon looks outside to set up the play. Right to Johnson, goes right off his hands, and Armstead is off to the races. A USFL record, 103 yards. First of all, McNeil, 13. I don't know if we'll see it in the picture, but he gets bumped off with his speed. Dillon has the last shot at him, and Armstead is in the end zone. Kidd never had a shot. He was stumbling at the 15 and never touched.
But he's got to make that effort, right? Because the coaches in the film are going, you got to run after him. San Antonio 7, Houston nothing. We'll return to the Astrodome right after this. With a 103-yard interception return by Armstead, with a 7-0 lead, Corville takes a kickoff 2 yards deep in the end zone. Corville across the 25 and then pulled back. Clyde Johnson, 32, was the man that grabbed him at the 25 and just pulled him on back. So the Houston Gamblers, who had outstanding field position at the 9-yard line, Dillon throws the interception, which was his 6th on the year, and now they've got to go try and do it all over again.
This won't hurt his confidence, though, because he threw that one to Johnson. It was more Johnson's fault that it was picked off than it was Todd Dillon. So Dillon, I don't think that one will shake him up too much. He's got to keep his composure, know that they're double-teaming Johnson, and find the open receiver who's been Scott McGee all night.
Jim Bob Morris will not return with a sprained knee tonight. They go to the near side to Johnson. And he goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. I want to tell you, there was a big league block by Sanders on James as Johnson went out of bounds.
I'll tell you what, on the swing pass, this is the way to get him open because the linebacker's not going to take depth. Now watch what Johnson does to the up-back, went right by him. Now watch the block. McGee tries to help out, and then an outstanding block by Sanders, and he'll come back and say, thank you, Ricky, I appreciate that.
I think it's important, though, that Dillon comes right back to Johnson on that play. We saw him do the same thing against Birmingham in a situation where he went to Johnson, Johnson dropped it, came right back to him the next play to get the confidence back.
Good point.
1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Verdun was in motion. Dillon has McNeil. That time McNeil got a little cute. He's got the first down. He made one great move. He tried to make two great moves, and it backfired on him.
When you've got the great speed, Roger, you try to get open so you can use it, and I think he overcompensated that time. This time, the weak side package, and he finds McNeil on the hook pattern. Now watch the move to get out of the way the first time. Whoops, I went the wrong way. If he turns outside, he might get 4 or 5 extra yards.
They're going to bring out the chains right now.
You got good eyes, though.
Yeah, that's enough for the first down. You know, Mike, the Houston Gamblers' home record this year is 3-4. That's the 4th worst in the USFL this year. However, they've got the best road record in the league at 6-3.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I have no idea. Most teams are really tough to beat at home.
They've lost 7 of their last 11, 5 of their last 6, and 2 in a row. And they were losing when Kelly was in there, too.
That's true.
You know, this is not something just because Dillon's come on board. They have been struggling the second half of the season. 1st and 10. Dillon escapes from trouble. He finds Johnson at the 32-yard line. A fine job of scrambling by Todd Dillon. Now all of a sudden, hello, Richard Johnson.
He gets time, he being Todd Dillon. And if you get time on a crossing pattern, Richard Johnson is still getting double teamed. You'll see Johnson when he goes across the field. 2 guys following him right there. Now he gets time because he breaks down the pass protection, and Johnson gets wide open and he hits it.
Bud Schote was the man that makes the tackle. 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. 10 minutes left to go. First half. Verdun in motion. Go to the other side to McNeil. McNeil to the 27-yard line, and guess who? Bud Schote one more time.
I think part of the problem with the Houston offense, even when Kelly was here, the loss of 2 starting offensive linemen. Rosado wasn't planned to be the starting right guard. Tommy Robinson was the starting right guard. Now he's at right tackle. They've had so many injuries in that offensive line that maybe that has been the key and not really the injury to Kelly, although that certainly hurt.
2nd and 6 at the 27-yard line. Verdun is the man to the near side. Todd Fowler. Fowler's very close to the first down at the 20-yard line. Former tight end, 6'4", 220. A couple of players are down on the field. The officials will call a timeout. Dillon appears to be Tommy Robinson.
Is it Robinson? 70?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Looks like a 10. I went, oh my goodness, quarterback can't be that big.
Well, it's hard to tell when they're sitting down on the ground.
That's right. Again, here's that quick drop play to Fowler. And that's where he gets hurt. His own man right across the back. And, you know, we talked...
How many times has that happened?
Oh, too many times. We talked to Bob Young, the offensive line coach. He said, hey, Chris Ream is going to be a great offensive tackle. He breaks his foot. He's out. They got to move Robinson from guard to tackle. And Vic Kerr has been hurt for most of the season. Their left guard, he's back in the starting lineup, but not at full speed.
Brian Dawson, 72, is checked in at right tackle for Robinson. 1st and 10 from the 20. Dillon has Sanders. A know, you got to love the way these Houston Gambler wide receivers, they can duck underneath tackles. They're so small and they're so quick. They just lower a shoulder and they go underneath tackles.
About 5'8" and 150 pounds is what you got to be to run the run and shoot. Now watch Sanders. I mean, the quickness is what is the big asset of these receivers. Here comes the necktie tackle attempt. Whoops, went right by him, ducked under the next one, and got an extra 3 or 4 yards.
You don't get hurt that way.
I'd get down on that carpet.
You can run low to the ground. You don't get hurt that way. Once again, it's a first and goal situation for Houston. This time at the 6-yard line. Johnson's in motion. Fowler, the ball carrier. Todd Fowler, touchdown, Houston. Third rushing touchdown of the year for Todd Fowler.
You said the key, Roger. First touchdown of the year. Did you say first?
No, third.
Oh, third touchdown of the year. They should have a lot more out of their running back, and they haven't. And the running game's really hurt them again because of the offensive line injuries. And it's nice to see them get in the end zone inside the 10 because they've struggled all year trying to either run it or throw.
And there's Tony Fritsch, the USFL's leading scorer in '84, currently tied for second in the league with Gary Anderson and 12 points behind Herschel Walker. Penalty markers are down. The kick's good. 10 rushing touchdowns on the year.
77, and the defense is offside. The point is good. The penalty is assessed on the kickoff.
So the Houston Gamblers are on the board. We're tied up at 7 apiece. Tied up at 7. Bonner will kneel down and do the smart thing. And San Antonio will have the first attempt for the 20. Here is the touchdown run by Todd Fowler. And what about the blocking up front, Mike?
Dan Rosado, 65. Watch him come across on the trap block. Takes on the outside linebacker or the defensive end. And that's what gets Fowler open. Right into the end zone. And Houston has not had success inside the 10-yard line getting in the end zone. And that's probably nice to see for Jack Pardee and his guys.
Don Roberts, Scott Stamper, the running backs. Lockett and Gordon, the wide receivers. Neuheisel, the quarterback. First and 10 with 7:44 left to go in the first half. San Antonio has never defeated Houston in 2 years of USFL play. Let's swing it out to Roberts. Nice cut. Roberts with the first down across the 30 to the 32-yard line. And Don Roberts shows you why he's the leading pass receiver for the San Antonio Gunslingers. And second-year man from San Diego State. Done an outstanding job all year long for him.
San Diego State, that's where they throw the ball a lot. Remember a guy named Don McCauley at Baltimore? Bert Jones liked to throw to him on third down out of the backfield, and Roberts reminds me a lot of him. Not a bad runner. He'll run inside for you, but he's a great pass receiver out of the backfield.
First down, ball at the 34-yard line. Roberts averaging over 5 yards a carry and over 13 yards of reception. Swing it out to Roberts again. Oh, he's tripped up. An outstanding play. Andy Hawkins, 59, came flying up from his outside linebacker spot. Look at the smile on his face.
One of the keys about calling offensive plays, not to go to the well once too often. I mean, you just got Roberts wide open on the last play. The linebackers are a little embarrassed. So this time, Mike Hawkins is going to make sure it doesn't happen again. That was a great play. Andy Hawkins.
Andy Hawkins, 59.
Hey.
Mike's 57.
One of the Hawkins brothers got him, I guarantee you.
Just call it Hawkins. They get their share of it.
Yeah, they do.
Second and 15, 5-yard loss on that play. Neuheisel's nailed. Hosea Taylor. His 4th and a half sack this year.
Hosea Taylor, along with every other defensive lineman across the front there, knows that second and long, this is more than likely a passing down, and if you beat one of those guys with 4 defensive linemen, somebody's going to get drilled, and it's usually the quarterback right in the middle of the pack.
Third sack so far tonight for the Houston Gamblers. 6:22 left to go in the first half. It's 3rd and 22.
Screen or draw.
Wrong. And he's down again. Pete Caton. That's his second sack tonight. Give him 10 on the year.
If you thought 2nd and 15 was fun, how about 3rd and 20? And look at the defensive line. It's one-on-one up there. Nobody's getting any help. They run a little twist inside. Then they force Neuheisel up, and that's when you get in trouble with the quickness of defensive end.
Mike, there have been a number of coaching changes on this team this year. Grossley, the offensive coordinator, fired early on. Bates, of course, quit. The San Antonio Gunslingers have a volunteer coach who is calling their plays from upstairs, who's never coached on the collegiate or professional level. He's been a high school coach.
Right out of high school. That'll make it tough.
McNeil standing back at the 43-yard line. Mickemeyer at the 4. 4th and 25. Low kick. But a tough one to return because it was so short and so low, McNeil couldn't grab it in the air, and you can't take a chance of trying to get it on a bounce, so it rolls down to the 31-yard line. Gamblers 7, Slingers 7. We'll be back to the Dome right after this. The uncertainty about the United States Football League's future and the uncertainty about where Houston will play in the future has hurt the attendance of the Gamblers. Their last 3 games, they've averaged 14,341. Their home average on the season is 20,644. And I would guess less than 10,000 here tonight.
Easily less than 10,000. You can't tell the fans that they're going out of town. They won't come out.
5:15 left to go, first half. Sanders in motion. Ball at the 32-yard line. Dylan McNeil got it. At the 47-yard line and out of bounds. Leon Williams makes the tackle. Had all day.
Yes, and I'll tell you why it was so wide open. They were playing man-to-man on the right side. They ran the weak side package. Dylan read it quickly, and you'll see they're in zone. Obviously can't be in man-to-man if the cornerback is way back, and McNeil just stands there on the hook pass and is wide open. A perfect read by Todd Dillon.
First down, 47-yard line. The offensive line of the Houston Gamblers has done an outstanding job so far tonight as Verdun comes in motion. McGee was the intended receiver. And there's a look at Todd Dillon. Total yards tonight, a real mismatch, but that doesn't include the 103-yard interception return by Charles Armstead. Dillon from Cal State Long Beach, where he set all sorts of records in the PCAA and the NCAA.
Only played there 2 years. He was a junior college youngster for a while.
And there is Jim Kelly. Oh, he's nervous, pacing the sidelines, just chomping at the bit to get back in.
Oh, yeah.
Draw play to Fowler. He's got some room. Turns it up. Fowler gets very close to a first down. All right, pretty good tackle by Mike Ulmer.
And if you're playing zone in the secondary, then you're going to run the draw play, and you're going to be minus linebackers because they're all taking the deep drop, so is the secondary. Fowler makes a nice cutback, and then Ulmer comes in, cuts his legs out from under it.
One thing you might have noticed, folks, is Dillon went back on that play. He kept his eyes downfield because linebacker, secondary people, they're watching the quarterback's eyes.
That's right.
And that's what makes that draw go so well. 3rd and 1, Harrell, and he should have it. Harrell should have it. Greg Fields, 99, 6'7" and 280, the big man up front for San Antonio, makes the tackle.
I was always good at that, Roger. When you're split out 18 yards, you look down the line, yeah, the big fullback that got drilled by 4 linebackers, 2 defensive backs, yeah, he made it. I'd give him the signal. Nobody hit me.
Robinson has checked back in the game. He left a little bit earlier with an ankle, but he is back now. And Vince Corville, 83, has checked into the game for the Houston Gamblers. 3:45 left to go in the half. We're all tied up at 7 apiece. Harrell's the lone setback. And Richard Johnson's the motion man. Going deep. Corville overthrown, and he had Armstead beat by about 5 yards.
Todd Dillon liked to have that one back.
Dillon does a great job, I think, Mike, of going back and setting up, letting the defensive line, see where he's at, and then once his offensive lineman make that contact, moves up a couple yards and let the offensive lineman take those guys on by.
And he's only 6'2". He's learned that throughout his career. He's not a big 6'2", 6'3" guy that can see over everybody, so he likes to step into the slot. He does it well.
2nd and 10 now. 36-yard line. 4-man front for the San Antonio Gunslingers. Dillon's got some room, and he's going to run it. Trying to get to the sideline. Look at him hot-stepping. He's still on his feet. He's going to go for a touchdown. Six-yard touchdown run for Todd Dillon. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. You saw him running in against Birmingham a couple of weeks ago. Well, there was a case where Dillon was going to the sideline. The defensive players felt that he was simply going to run out of bounds. He caught a seam, he high-stepped it, and danced into the end zone.
Can't quit on defense. It ain't over until the whistle blows, and the San Antonio defenders quit on him.
Tony Fritsch to attempt the point after out of the hold of Tommy Myers. It's good. So with 3:19 to go in the half, Jack Pardee and the Houston Gamblers have a 14-7 lead. And what about Todd Dillon, who feels he's a latter-day
Fran Tarkington. Well, he's got the right number on, and he also makes a move that Francis would be proud of. Now watch. They've got him pinned into the sidelines. What all quarterbacks do, they step out of bounds, right? Look at Putchote back off 55.
Nick Miner screen Putchote out. Miner's the one that quit on the play.
And there he goes into the end zone.
Now look at the spike.
Yeah! Double whammy slam.
Miner was the one that was coming across, and he laid off, and that cut Choate out of the play, and Dillon was heads up enough to see that and take it on down.
Well, he'll be a star in the locker room now with all his quick moves. They'll all give him a lot of heat for that one.
We've had a couple of exciting plays. The interception returned by Armstead. That's Bonner back to return the kickoff. Corral sends it 2 yards deep in the end zone. And Bonner's taken out at the 16-yard line. Todd Fowler, one of the men down there, and temper's beginning to flare a bit. There is no love lost between these two teams.
You ever seen two Texas teams that liked each other?
Never.
That's for sure.
There's Gil Stanky, the former head coach and once again the head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
What problems this franchise has had. I'm proud of these guys in white out here for even hanging in.
Well, they're playing for fun.
No kidding.
They're not in it for the money. Roberts turns it up. He gets up to the 25-yard line. The clock will continue to run. Some of the problems, San Antonio last year 7-11. The Jim Bates-inspired defense, they came into the season very excited about what was going to happen. They've struggled to 4-12. They lost 8 in a row, finally beat Los Angeles last week. Paychecks have bounced. They've been late as 5 weeks. Last month, in May, the USFL Players Association filed a grievance forcing payment on 2 past due checks. Fan support in San Antonio has diminished. They had a season high 21,800 March 10th against Tampa Bay, 4,900 last Sunday. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Roberts gets it up to about the 30. Then Bates resigned May 18th, just a couple hours before the team was to play Oakland, just because Bates, I think, was so frustrated and just didn't feel he could continue to ask his team to play with the emotion and fervor that if you ever saw Jim Bates coach, which he brought to the field. And owner Clint Mangus has had many problems with the media. Matter of fact, blaming the media for many of the problems and banning some reporters from the press box for what he terms negative reporting. So a lot of finger pointing going on. The fact of the matter is, here in Houston, the Gamblers have a 14-7 lead with 2 minutes to go in the half. 6 feet, 250, just strong as a day's long.
Those big 6'5" linemen are starting to block him up in his numbers, and he's down below him.
Clock running, 1:35, and the Slingers don't seem to be in a big hurry to try to move it downfield. But I'll tell you what, when you're 6'5", an offensive lineman, it's tough to block those 6 foot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're usually quicker than you are, too. 3rd and 7. Jerry Gordon with the reception. And that'll be very close to a first down. Gordon was a guy that was waived a couple weeks ago because he expressed dissatisfaction with the situation, but because of some injuries and such, he's brought back.
Yes. And look real close now where he goes out of bounds. You mark it where he falls out. And boy, that was awful close to first down, but he's a yard short according to where they marked it.
He needed to fall on that pylon.
Yes, that would have helped. Maybe influence the side judge.
So, Houston, with 3 timeouts left and 1:14 to go, with more than enough time to get themselves back on the scoreboard again, as Mickemeyer, who has not punted the ball very far, but once it's hit the ground, it's rolled a long way. McNeil at the 32-yard line. Letting the 30-second clock run down, but not affecting the game clock at all. Now he got some nice height on that one, and a fair catch called at the 24-yard line by McNeil, the leading punt returner in the United States Football League. Well, just another day at the office for Herschel Walker. 26 for 209, a TD, 14th 100-yard game, 11th in a row, and 2,338 this season. But it wasn't enough as the Oakland Invaders pick up a 34-29 victory. That sets up a good matchup between New Jersey and Birmingham.
Absolutely.
Next Sunday at the Meadowlands. Memphis clinched the playoff spot. Mike Kelly did an outstanding job, 31-0 over Jacksonville. And Tampa Bay bounced back after several bad weeks and defeat Birmingham 17-14. Verdun in motion, 1st and 10, 1:06 left to go in the half. Dillon, and he's got Verdun still on his feet. And he runs out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Clarence Verdun, his first reception of the night. Averaging over 12 yards a reception. And Mike, he makes it look so easy.
Yeah, he does. And Todd Dillon knows he hasn't got him beat deep, so he throws it short. Clarence is looking back, and he makes a great adjustment. Now, here's even a better one. Get out of bounds because stop the clock, save a timeout.
Houston coaches chart not only passes caught and dropped in games, but also in practices. Throughout this entire season, Clarence Verdun has caught 94% of every pass thrown to him in a game or in practice. That's a remarkable statistic. Dillon going deep. Sanders, touchdown! On the touchdown pass from Todd Dillon to Ricky Sanders, and they can hit you quicker than a mosquito on a hot summer night, can't they?
For sure. That was a great throw. Maybe Todd Dillon was listening to us. He wouldn't throw down the middle before. Now he's looking for his deep receivers, and it's paying off tonight.
Boy, this looks like the Houston Gamblers of old.
Jim who? No, I think they'd like to have Kelly back.
Well, so far, so good. Tony Fritsch to attempt the point after. And it's good. So Fritsch now with 117 points on the season. 51 seconds left to go. They didn't even have to use a timeout.
Didn't have to use the timeout in the 2-minute drill. Watch this catch. This is great concentration. Look, it's coming over the other shoulder, right over the top of your head. It's a tough catch. And Ricky Sanders, best rookie ever in one season, 105. Now look at the secondary. See, they're playing 4 under, 5 underneath, and 2 deep. So they're playing man-to-man. Now the safety in the middle of the field has got to make a decision. He waited too late. Now he has to turn and run and try and catch Sanders, and you know what kind of speed the Houston receivers have. You ain't going to catch him. And Sanders makes the great catch again for the touchdown.
Well, what they did was they moved 76 yards in 23 seconds.
They can do that.
51 seconds left to go in the half. They've still got all their timeouts left.
Faster than a mosquito on a hot summer night, huh? I like that.
On a hot Houston summer night.
No kidding.
When walking through this humidity, you feel like you got a bag of sand on your back.
Thank goodness they play indoors here. These guys would be wilted.
I'll tell you what, it's hot in here tonight.
Yeah.
Bonner at the 1. He's got a seam. Marcus Bonner. Finally out of bounds at the 39, and guess who? The kicker. Frank Corral, the last man. Corraldi.
Special teams has always been an emphasis for the San Antonio Gunslingers under Jim Bates before he left. And watch Bonner. He sees that hole. Now the eyes get big. He said, uh-oh, I got a chance if I can beat this slow kicker here. Problem was he was slowed down a little bit, and then he couldn't get away from Corral and keep his balance and stay in bounds.
San Antonio now, 3 timeouts left. On their previous possession, they didn't seem to be in any hurry. It looked like they wanted to run the clock out. They didn't use the timeouts. Let's see what happens this time. Neuheisel looking downfield. It's going to be intercepted. Luther Bradley. And he's out of bounds at the 31-yard line, and we got to fight. Penalty markers are flying. 22, Jerry Gordon got into it, and he's still throwing punches. Fields 99 being held back.
Personal foul, number 22 on San Antonio.
Jerry Gordon is the man hit with the personal foul, and for Luther Bradley, his 11th interception of the year.
Had 12 last year, led the league. Let's watch just at the end. Jerry Gordon, the frustration is just all over him. And with the interception, he gets upset. Now he's going to chase Bradley all the way to the other side of the field. Watch for 22 to come into your screen. Out of bounds. Now where's 22? 22
he's back on the sideline.
Yeah, he wants, oh, there it is. He wants to get in somebody's face. And he did, and it cost him 15 yards.
35 interceptions on the year for the Houston Gamblers. Well,
how quickly it can turn around with a run and shoot, huh?
Yeah.
Here they are again, knocking on the door. It was 14-7 a minute ago.
It's 21-7, 33 seconds left to go, and 3 timeouts for Dan in motion. Penalty markers down. Dillon's got room again. He runs out of bounds at the 10-yard line. A penalty marker down. Holding's going to be against Houston. Well, Neuheisel has now been intercepted, what, 24?
24 times on the year? Can't do that.
Well, I don't understand the offensive strategy. When they had about 2 minutes to go, they were in no hurry. They didn't seem very concerned about trying to get any more points on the board. And against the Houston Gamblers, you've always got to be concerned because, as they proved, they moved 76 yards in 23 seconds.
The way to beat the Houston offense is to keep the ball away from them. So why not run your 2-minute drill? Play a little possession, even if you're not. Be aggressive. Don't let them have the football. Here they're going to put, they get in the end zone here, 2 quick touchdowns on what should have been the 2-minute drill for San Antonio.
1st and 20, ball at the 25-yard line. Dillon got a man. Richard Johnson at the 6-yard line. James, 24. And a timeout is called by the Houston Gamblers. James, 24. Minor, 25. The men back on the coverage.
They're playing man-to-man underneath. Look at them sneak up at one cornerback. Now they're doubling on the outside, and the thing is, you give Todd Dillon that kind of time on a crossing pattern, and you give Richard Johnson time to get open. He was double covered and still found a seam.
Mike, I don't know if this is a major problem, but I thought I saw Bill Bradley, the secondary coach, go downstairs with about 2 minutes left, getting ready to go back down there.
That will hurt.
And now whether he's come back upstairs, we'll try to take a peek down and see if we can see the San Antonio coaches upstairs. But I thought I saw Bradley on the sideline.
Tough to call your defensive signals if you're in the elevator going downstairs,
Yep.
right?
The team had the football with about 1:40 left to go in the half. I don't see him down on the sideline right now, so possibly he went back upstairs, or maybe it was a Bill Bradley lookalike. But
his defense got problems here.
18 seconds left to go in the half. Look at the numbers for Todd Dillon. 2nd down and 1 from the 6-yard line. Fowler, he's got the 1st down. Now that'll stop the clock. The 1st down will stop the clock in the final 2 minutes. And they're going to go ahead and take the timeout, so they have 1 left now. And 14 seconds, that's 3 plays.
They got plenty of time to take 3 shots in the end zone. What you want to do as the quarterback is, if they're not open, make sure it's incomplete. Make sure it hits the ground. You don't want to get picked off, nor do you want to get sacked, because then the clock will keep running and you'll have to use that timeout up. They got plenty of time to take 3 shots at the end zone.
I do see Bradley down on the sideline, so that could be a problem. Bill Bradley, the secondary coach, is down on the sideline. Yeah. Okay, Houston receivers, 100-plus-yard games in 85. And there's Richard Johnson. Caught 115 passes last year. Came in with 91 receptions this year. Clarence Verdun, Gerald McNeil, Ricky Sanders, Sam Harrell out of the backfield.
Sanders missed 8 games early in the season with a bad knee. Harrell has gotten more involved in the passing game. Both the run and shoots in Denver and in Houston have started to use their running backs a little more, and I guess when you have Billy Johnson in Denver and Harrell here, you want to get them the football as often as you can.
1st and goal from the 4-yard line. The Gamblers have 1 timeout left.
323 yards of total offense in the 1st half.
San Antonio making some last-second substitutions defensively. Sanders is the motion man. Dillon, he's hanging in there. He's got all day. Touchdown, Ricky Sanders.
Give a quarterback 8 seconds, Roger, you're going to get a touchdown.
I was going to say, there were 14 seconds left to go in the half. There are 8 seconds showing right now, so he had 6 seconds. Plenty of time. And Tony Fritsch is a very busy man tonight, as he'll attempt the point after. That's good. And the Houston Gamblers have scored 14 points in a matter of a minute and a half.
When a quarterback gets 6 seconds, and we got it graphically with the time, and you're sending 5 receivers out. He sent it back out of the backfield, too, with his normal 4 receivers. Watch Dillon. He's buying himself time. You mentioned it earlier that he can step around, find the seam in the slot. Look at him looking for a receiver. Now, there he got the extra 2 seconds to find Sanders standing all by himself. Oh, quarterbacks love that throw. Those are the kind I used to drop, though. There's nobody around me.
And everybody in the secondary of San Antonio is looking at each other. Who's got him?
Yeah, who's got...
Look at Armstead's there. Putz Choate was up front. Minor, look at Putz Choate. Oh, he is upset. Yeah. Well, this was a 14-7 football game. There's John Jenkins, the man who inherited the run and shoot from Mouse Davis and June Jones. He's had his hands full this year.
He's got to be happy. His offense generated 327 yards in the 1st half to just 42.
Look at Todd Dillon laughing, sitting back, and enjoying himself. 28-7. And they're going to just kind of punch it down there short. Bonner will take it at the 12. Oh, and a big hit put on Bonner. Lloyd Lewis, 68. Really stuck him at the 29. 2 seconds left to go in the 1st half. Well, you cannot be non-aggressive against the Houston Gamblers offensively. The moment you sit back and try to be conservative and say, hey, we're down by a TD, we've only got a minute 35, 40 to go, we'll just kind of take it easy. 14 points later, it's 28-7.
High school offensive coordinator doesn't know about these pro players that can really get on you if you show a weakness. Then you automatically turn the momentum over to the other team.
2 seconds left to go in the half. Tom Eaves will be coming by with a men in halftime report. Stay tuned for that. And Neuheisel will throw one down to Joey Hackett. Pitch back. Gordon's got it. And out of bounds. Nice idea, but why didn't they try that with a minute 45, a minute 50 to go?
Where was
it? Doesn't mean anything now.
That's true. Well, it's fun plays, so let's look at it. Joey Hackett over the middle. Neuheisel's favorite receiver. And now he knows the clock's going to run out, so why not pitch it? There's Jerry Gordon outside, 22.
Go sit down.
Nice catch by Gordon, but he's got no place to go. Luther Bradley says, sorry, the half's over.
We've completed the first half of play at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Gamblers 28, the Gunslingers 7. Tom Eaves coming up with a minute halftime report. There are the halftime statistics, Mike, and they do tell the story, right?
You don't need to say much. Look at the total yards, 333 to 73. And if it weren't for the interception, 103 yards, the one turnover by Houston, this game would really be a rout. 333 yards to 73. And I like the rushing total for Houston, 70. That's getting up there way over their average, which is right around 63.
The Houston Gamblers took advantage of the one turnover by San Antonio, the interception, which Bradley picked off, and they took that in for a TD. The Houston possessions, a punt, the interception, and then TD. It took them a while to get warmed up.
But look at the field position to start with, the 8 to 7 yard line, and that made it tough. Now you can see the problem. Punt, and punt again, and then interception, and then, of course, the halftime.
And the 103-yard record interception return by Charles Armstead, their only bright spot this evening. 28-7 the score at halftime. We get set for third quarter action from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas.
Remember, the last time these two teams met, San Antonio got way down and then made a furious comeback at the end. They fell a little bit short. Maybe they'll do it again tonight and make this exciting.
Mickemeyer to kick it off in the direction of Corville, and he'll take it at the 4. Has to stop right at the 20, and that's where Corville's brought down. Juan Castillo, a new addition to the San Antonio Gunslingers, makes a stop. Special teams. And Todd Dillon has had some kind of night so far, and he'll bring his Houston Gambler team out in the field with a 28-7 lead as they put in play 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And there is Todd Dillon, 17 of 22, 263, a couple of touchdowns, and that one interception, which was deflection off the hands of Richard Johnson.
Not really Dillon's fault. Didn't bother him to lick. He came right back to a couple touchdown passes and ran for one.
Sam Harrell will be the lone setback to start the second half, and Johnson is the man in motion. Dillon's got McGee at the 39-yard line. I'll tell you what, McGee loves to do that tightrope back on the sideline, doesn't he?
Not the fastest of all the receivers, but the great hands, the out man. When Dillon gets in trouble, he looks for 88. And you practice that every day. Keep the feet in, tight rope, ball out of bounds. Thank you, another reception.
Scott McGee, who has been a favorite target tonight of Todd Dillon, who has shown us that he can pass the football and that he can run it.
I like the way he moves around in the pocket, too, to find his receiver.
1st and 10. Great catch by McGee, but he's out of bounds. What a grab.
That's hands, folks. He caught that with one hand and then grabbed the other one to keep it from bouncing out of his hands.
You work on that, don't you? Catching the football one-handed.
Absolutely. Try it all kinds of ways. Throw it behind you, try to catch it one hand. Anyway, it doesn't count in practice, so that's the way to do it. Watch this catch. See, one hand first, pulls it in, then the other one. Couldn't get the feet down, though.
Had the one down, it looked like, and Armstead made the push. Second and 10, 39-yard line, just underway. Second half from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, 28-7. The Gamblers with the lead. And Dillon moves right up. Now he tripped on the infield of the Astrodome, right around second base, and he's shy of the first down by about a yard.
I think he tripped on purpose. He saw a linebacker coming at him, take his head off. This might be the best game Dillon's played. And you would imagine that. Kelly's been out now for 3 games. This is his 3rd shot. And now, you know, he knows it's his job. He knows he's got his timing down. You can practice all you want at practice, but you got to play in the game to get effective.
They lost to Birmingham 29-27. They lost to Denver 16-13. So they've lost by 5 points, a total of 5 points the last 2 weeks. This is 3rd down and 1. Fowler trips, and I don't know if he got it. Once again, they were coming off the infield portion of the artificial turf, and I don't believe he got it.
Oh, he's way short. But you're right, Roger. You caught it perfect. He went from the dirt to the AstroTurf, and that caused him to stumble and not even get back to the line of scrimmage.
I don't understand, Mike, why they don't go ahead and just put the turf down on those.
They do everywhere else.
Yeah. Frank Corral done a good job punting the football. Mike Ulmer is the man back. He can catch it. He's not a return threat. He's standing at 15. Corral sends it to the far sideline. Penalty marker is down, and boy, you get a nice roll. And Verdun touches it down
55
at the 8-yard line.
Holding on Houston, though. They'll have to do it again.
Liddell Wills, 55, is the man called for holding. So San Antonio will want them to kick that over again.
55 Wills, right side of your screen. He's the right guard.
Uh-oh.
He ought to open a tailor shop. Yeah, that's a textbook hold right there. He's got about 1.5 yards of cloth.
Reggie Mathis was the man coming through, and Wills just a moment late in picking up the block. And every coach will tell you,
hold him first. Don't let him block it. Absolutely.
Because then they'll decline that penalty for sure.
Yeah, and you'll be looking at trying to hold him out of the end zone.
Corral now standing at the 22-yard line, and Ulmer's up to the 25. Well, they put some pressure on him, and somebody might have got a piece of that. Ulmer missed it. It went right underneath of him, and look where this thing's going to end up. At the 6-yard line. I'll tell you what, if San Antonio didn't have bad luck, they wouldn't have any at all. Ulmer momentarily thought about trying to catch that thing, and then he pulled up on it.
He looked like a shortstop going to make the scoop. Just missed him. The worst part of it is they gained 2 yards after the penalty. They were at the 8, now they're at the 6.
28-7. We'll be back to the Dome right after this. Tribal Mike Hafner with you. Neuheisel finds his tight end, Joey Hackett. Big, strong man out of Elon College, 6'5", 255. And he pulls defenders across the 15 up to the 18-yard line, and that'll be a San Antonio first down.
Neuheisel likes his tight end tonight. And Roberts out of the backfield, and that's about it.
Well, those have been the favored targets, as the wideouts have really not gotten involved in this San Antonio offense this year. 20 of time. He's got Roberts, and another first down at the 29-yard line.
Graphic
there you go.
Description of their offense, right? Hackett the first down, Roberts the second one. They got great pass protection on this play, and the reason is the draw. They set up the draw in the first half. He fakes the draw inside, and then over the middle to find Roberts. But that was great protection, and the reason was for the draw fake. It held the defensive lineman just enough for Neuheisel to get the time.
Back-to-back first downs for San Antonio. First and 10 from the 29-yard line. 10:50 left to go, third quarter. Neuheisel to Gordon. Another first down. This one at the 41-yard line. Mike Mitchell was the man on the coverage.
There's a first. Thrown to their outside receivers.
Neuheisel conversing with Frank Lockett, late of the Portland Breakers. Portland got some future draft picks for Lockett. That's, when you think about it, that's suspect in this league.
What future?
Yeah.
You're worried about that.
They don't know if they're going to play next fall. Maybe a split schedule with some exhibition games in the spring.
If they do play in the fall, it's 14 months.
First and 10. Play action again. Not this time. Hosea Taylor was the first man to get there. And a little indecision on the part of Rick Neuheisel.
Houston defensive line has been putting tremendous pressure on Neuheisel the whole evening. Again, that twist inside, and when you pull it down, you're going to get somebody catching from behind, and they did. 4 Houston defensive linemen around Neuheisel.
79 Browner got a hand in Rick's face that time, and that's why he pulled it back. 2nd and 17. They took too much time. No flags down. Intercepted. Luther Bradley, one more time. Touchdown. Luther Bradley, 33 yards on the interception. And he has now equaled his interception total of a year ago at 12. I'll tell you what, Mike, I thought that clock was at 0. So did I. They snapped the ball.
I did too, and maybe Rick Neuheisel did also. Figured he was going to get called and just threw it up. Again, it was a quick fake inside to Stamper. Tried to hit Roberts over the middle, and Bradley standing right there waiting for it. Gone to the well one too many times, and turned the white shirt around to stop Bradley.
Fritz can only get him 1 at a time, while Gary Anderson and Herschel Walker get him 6 at a time. But that's 1 more and 5 points on the night. Gamblers 35 and the Slingers 7. Back to the Astrodome right after this. And being congratulated by all of his Houston teammates and coaches as Roberts takes a kickoff at the 9-yard line and returns it to the 29. Mike, I'm curious. We mentioned earlier that the Gunslingers missed another payday on Tuesday, and they felt that maybe they got through the worst of it. They don't really have any legal compensation, just a couple weeks left in the season. You had to wonder what their intensity level would be. They're putting out, they're playing hard, but psychologically, you got to say, hey, this is, 1 more after this.
Yep. That's exactly what Rick Neuheisel said to me. Just 2 more weeks left in the season. And, they won against Los Angeles after they'd been paid. Right. They didn't get paid this week, so that must mean they don't win.
Well, and we'll throw in that Clint Mangus gave a $500 bonus when they finally were paid.
Yes.
Which was probably the interest accrued on some of that money anyway. Stamper. Running hard, cross the 40 to the 42-yard line. Kiki Diayala pulls him out of bounds. 35-7, and I guess Lindy and Fonnie and the folks of Jacksonville
not very happy.
Are not pleased right now because they had an outside shot if Houston would lose their last 2 and Jacksonville could come up with a victory, but that would have been tough because their quarterback situation has been depleted there.
Who do they go into the playoffs with? Brian Sipe out for the rest of the year. Same possibly for Ed Luther with the badly twisted knee. They'd had to go with Robbie Mahfouz and may have not been a threat to playoffs anyway.
Roberts. Luther Bradley's right there to bring him down. And Kiki Diayala was there. Luther Bradley having a heck of a game. And
there's a look at him. Last year's leading interceptor. He set the record last year. Chuck Clanton has since broken it at Birmingham. Strong safeties usually are not the interceptor type. They're the kind of guy who comes up and makes this kind of play against the running back. But Bradley's was outstanding at Arizona and then came up played well here, too.
How about a college team with Luther Bradley and Ross Browner, just to name two?
There are a few others at Notre Dame. Jerry Faust getting a lot of heat for not producing with those kind of guys.
Maybe this will be the year at the Dome. 2nd and 11. Neuheisel downfield at Tadnot. His first reception of the night at the 38-yard line. Durwood Rockmore had to tangle with James Hadnot, all 6'5", 245 pounds of him.
He was a fullback in his playing days in college, and they've just moved him to the tight end. He knows how to deliver a blow. I'm impressed with the way he catches the football, though, for an ex-fullback.
Well, he had, I think, been expected to produce a lot more this year, and they're disappointed with Hadnot. Matter of fact, Hackett finally beat him out. 1st and 10 for the Slingers. Look out. Neuheisel escapes Hawkins. Throws it downfield, and on the near side, he's got Frank Lockett. The first reception for Lockett tonight. Andy Hawkins almost had him in the backfield.
Blindside blitz. And it's a great athletic move by Neuheisel. Defensive line will take them straight on because they know the blitz is coming. They want to leave a space for one of their linebackers. And Hawkins had plenty of space, Andy. But Neuheisel made a good move to get away, and then a great throw to get it to Lockett.
And Roberts threw that infamous lookout block.
Look out, here he comes, Rick. Good job by Lockett to get open after all that problem.
1st and 10, so San Antonio's been racking up some first downs in this third quarter, but the interception stalled them. And Neuheisel in trouble. Has got Roberts inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. Durwood Rockmore once again, the man to make the stop. So the Houston defense playing a little loose right now, giving them the short stuff.
Backing off. No, they're not going to hurt him with the running game. Going to give him the short stuff, but Neuheisel knows that. And he knows that if he breaks, he'll draw the linebackers up. When he does that, it opens up Roberts. Then it gets him in between the seam. Roberts got a first down inside the 10-yard line. Good job by Neuheisel moving himself around to get people open.
Less than 7 minutes to go. Third quarter. Gamblers lead at 35-7. 1st and goal from the 9. Stamper's a lone setback.
You want to throw here, Roger.
Houston blitzing. Far corner to Gordon. Some contact back there. Mike Mitchell was the man defending.
Tried to run the fade route. Rick tried to outguess him by throwing it over the inside shoulder, but Mike Mitchell did a great job of getting in the way of Gordon so he couldn't come back inside.
Neuheisel looking at his play chart on his left forearm. And receiving signals from Whit Taylor, backup quarterback on the side.
They just go 1, 2, 7, 6, and you look on your list and pick it up. Rick said a guy tried to rip it off his arm one night, try to get the plays in advance. He said it wouldn't do him any good.
2nd and goal from the 9-yard line. He's got Stamper, touchdown. Scott Stamper wide open as he got matched up on the linebacker, Mike Hawkins. And Neuheisel did an outstanding job finding him and then leading him for the TD.
Roger, they caught him in blitz. And if you get him in blitz, you know you're going to get a linebacker one-on-one with your best receiver out of the backfield. Well, Stamper isn't the best receiver because Roberts is, but when you get one-on-one with a linebacker and you're a running back, you ought to beat him. And he beat him. Good job by Watch Neuheisel. He sees Diala coming in. He knows it's a blitz. All he's got to do is buy himself some time by rolling out, and his back will be open.
Mickemeyer, the point after, and he's got it. So San Antonio has moved the ball extremely well here in the third quarter, and they get 7 points. And they trail 35-14 with 6:34 to go in the third. Mickemeyer getting set to kick it off with 6:34 to go. Clarence Verdun averaging over 26 yards on kickoff returns, but they don't kick it to him very often anymore. And Vince Corville has got the outside. Corville across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Charles Armstead, one of the men there on the tackle. And Corville is running off under his own power, but I think he's seeing a few stars.
Roger, you remember Nolan Smith with the Kansas City Chiefs, Supernet? There are 3 Supernets back there. You can't avoid kicking it to one of them, and this is what it reminds me of. When Nolan Smith used to run the football, I'd hold my breath every time. It looked like it was going to get cut in 2. And take a look at this. You got to be real agile and limber to take all those shots. Of course, he survived this long, so he's got the ability.
Todd Dillon, Houston Gamblers have got it 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. McNeil, 1st down at the 40. There he did the stutter step back and was able to turn it up and got the 1st down.
Remember the last time they threw it to McNeil, he tried to make that inside move, but he was being double covered, and he had the linebacker on the inside. This time he makes the move on Johnson, and there is no linebacker to stop him, and he breaks up for the 1st down.
Mike, the point I made earlier about Verdun catching 94% of all passes thrown to him in practice and games, all of the receivers for the Houston Gamblers catch over 80% of the passes thrown to them in practice and in games.
I'd pick 80% anytime from any receiver.
1st and 10 from the 39. Dillon. Pass was deflected. Sanders did a pretty good job trying to grab it. And then he was nailed. Miner was there and James both came up. Maybe that's one of the reasons that Kelly completed 63% of his passes before he was...
Guys don't drop him on it. Yes, that ball was tipped. Sanders tried to make the great catch. Look at how long it stays up in the air. Bounced off the top of his helmet and almost got picked off.
Let's go now. Come on, man.
2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line. Gerald McNeil now has 999 yards receiving on this season. Dillon has Sanders, 1st down, inside the 30, down to the 27-yard line, as the Gamblers just keep on racking that yardage up.
San Antonio's secondary's lost interest. I mean, they're getting people open, and I mean wide open. It's not like there are 2 or 3 people hanging on them when they make the catch.
Well, it's a very thin secondary at that, especially with Jim Bob Morris out of the game with an injury. They really only have 2 legitimate backups now, and Mike Ulmer and Leon Williams.
You mentioned McNeil's got 999 yards. Verdun's real close, 967. So they both could go over 1,000 tonight.
1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. They spin it back to Vince Corville. He cuts it inside, gets a couple of blocks inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. And I'll tell you, a fine block by the center for the Houston Gamblers, Billy Kidd. Now, this is an example of the offensive lineman getting outside in a hurry and making that block. Look at this.
I'll tell you what, great block by Kidd. And Corville will come back to the huddle and give him a high five for that.
Got him 5 extra yards, yep. They mark it at the 20, 2nd down and 3. 4:30 left to go, 3rd quarter, 35-14. Houston's lost 5 of their last 6 and 2 in a row, and Dillon goes deep to Verdun. Touchdown! Touchdown reception number 9 on the year for Clarence Verdun.
Weak side package is working for Todd Dillon. Sends motion, so he's got 3 receivers out to the left. They come up to double cover 22 Johnson, and 89 Verdun, wide open. Miner went to cover 22 Johnson, and left Verdun wide open.
3rd touchdown pass of the night for Todd Dillon. And Tony Fritsch one more time. And Herd Fritsch from Vienna knocks it through. 42-14. Houston leads San Antonio with 4:18 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Back at the Astrodome, 42-14 as Corral kicks it to Marcus Bonner. Bonner up to the 30-yard line. Lloyd Lewis made the tackle, and a great acrobatic catch by Clarence Verdun.
And then this is the fun league.
Yeah, and here's some more acrobatics.
That's not a bad move. About a 34-inch vertical jump under the legs, and then a spike over the back in your face.
That's like freestyle gymnastics and floor exercise.
Do we get 6.5, 7, 7, 7, throw out the high and the low, and he scores 42 points.
Less than 4 minutes to go, third quarter. Neuheisel downfield, Hackett. Nice. No good, no. They say he trapped it. Well, he's had Hackett down the middle all night long.
Joey Hackett with almost a circus catch. Not bad for big man. Oh, yeah. Slipped right through. Tried to fool him, though, and pull it back inside.
So the Houston Gamblers moving closer and closer to that playoff spot. And with that in mind, another week to go in the regular season, and maybe in 2 weeks, maybe Jim Kelly would be ready.
He says he will be. I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe the second playoff game. If they can get by the first one, he might be able to play.
Second and 10. 31-yard line. Stamper. First down to the 47-yard line. And Rich Garza, the center, number 61, doing a fine job blocking downfield. As they brought the backers that time, the Hawkins brothers came in, and Neuheisel just flipped it out and found Stamper.
Perfect call when he got the blitz. The screen pass outside Scott Stamper, and he does an outstanding job of setting up his blockers after the screen. There's Garza, 61. And that's all you need to do. And Lockett, same way. That's all you got to do. You got first down yardage.
Sometimes the best blocks are the ones you never really make. You just kind of get in the way.
I've made a lot of those.
A couple of yards by Don Roberts. Clock running with 2:43 to go in the third quarter. 42-14. The highest point output of the year for the Houston Gamblers, 50 against Tampa Bay. The second game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And on one other occasion, they did score 45 against Portland.
They get a bunch against Denver, too, didn't they?
36-17. Second and 8. Not this time for Neuheisel. Fitzpatrick. And you can tell when he makes a sack because you can't see him. The rest of the big guys are standing around. And Tony Fitzpatrick, number 62.
Neuheisel gets caught by a guy he doesn't see. You're absolutely right. Look at Fitzpatrick. He's about 2 inches off the ground, and he's the first guy there. It's tough to block a guy when he's only a foot off the ground.
Well, Caton's had a couple. Hosea Taylor's had a couple. There were 5 last week against the Denver Gold and Bob Galliano. And so far tonight, 5 against Rick Neuheisel and the San Antonio Gunslingers.
And it's early.
Yeah, and San Antonio's going to be throwing it a few more times before the night's over. Neuheisel going deep to Lockett. He's got him open. Couldn't catch it. And when he finally did catch it, he was out of bounds. Lockett had Calvin Eason.
Let's see if he would have caught it on the first bounce if he'd have been inbound. No, it wouldn't have made any difference. The other foot would have been out. Nice throw by Neuheisel.
All right, Mickemeier's been a busy guy. 4th and 17. McNeil standing at the 25.
Hey, they're all fired up now. I wouldn't be surprised to see McNeil run this one right back down their throat.
I think Houston's going to put a big hurt here on San Antonio. We might see a lot of points because you don't sit on it in the run and shoot.
No,
it's just a fact of life.
It
can't be done. High punt. McNeil's going to take it at the 30. He slips by some folks. Let's see if Hafner's right. He's got a block. Mickemeier's the last man there, and he got him. Mickemeier knocked him out at the 34-yard line.
I just had a feeling he was going to get a big long run.
Let's give the nod to Mike Hafner. He was almost right.
That's all right. When the kicker pushes him out of bounds, I'll take that. Again, it's just nothing but speed. You've got to settle yourself and get in front of McNeil, or he's going to get by you. And once he does, with that great quickness and then the speed.
Mike Hafner back with you at the Astrodome. 40-yard punt return by Gerald McNeil, and it's first down and 10. The 32-yard line of San Antonio for the Houston Gamblers. Dylan Corville inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. We're going to watch a couple of guys in Clarence Verdun and Gerald McNeil because they're nearing 1,000 yards in receptions this year. There is the quarterback comparison, and Dylan with 333 yards. Gamblers with 412 total yards so far in the game. And Dylan with 7 touchdowns on the year, 6 interceptions. First and 10 from the 19. Sanders. Good job on the far side. Clyde Johnson, one of the men that came up. And also over there, Brad and I.
Clyde Johnson, remember we said on McNeil's punt return, you got to get squared up on him first before you make the lunge to get him because of the great quickness of the receivers. Watch Clyde Johnson. See him settle? Now watch. See him settle there? Now he makes his move after Sanders commits, and that's a great play.
He squared up perfectly.
Yeah, he did. You don't, and these guys will run right by you.
He's old Kansas Jayhawks, so I guess they taught him well on that.
I knew you'd get that in. I can't brag on my UCLA quarterback tonight.
Second and 10 from the 19. Just 7 seconds left to go in the quarter. Dylan looking to strike again, thrown behind Sanders. And really, Ricky did a pretty good job to get a hand on the football that time because closing in behind him was Vic Minor. And that ball could have been picked off, and if it was, Minor had nothing but 80 yards of AstroTurf in front of him.
When your quarterback makes a bad throw, you as a wide receiver turn into a defensive back. It's up to you to keep your quarterback from getting an interception.
1 second left to go in the third quarter here at the Astrodome. And this has been a night that Todd Dillon will long remember. His third consecutive start, his third start as a pro. And after a couple of tough losses to Birmingham and Denver, it's all come together for the young man out of Cal State Long Beach. Third and 10.
I think he'll go left. He's been successful over there.
Richard Johnson, touchdown. Well, Todd Dillon's on top of his game, so's Mike Hafner. Fourth touchdown pass of the night for Todd Dillon and Richard Johnson on the receiving end.
There's the motion to the left by Johnson and the roll left. Then he cuts back inside. This is the one that got picked off earlier at the goal line. This time Dillon puts it in and Johnson holds on and gets his touchdown.
His 14th of the year. And of course, he is over 1,200 yards in receptions this season.
Again, the left roll, that's where they've been successful. And then back across and just wide open against the zone back there.
Welcome back to the Astrodome. Starting the fourth quarter. And Frank Corral with another deep kickoff. And Marcus Bonner will down it in the end zone. And San Antonio will put it in play first and 10 from the 20-yard line. The Gamblers scored 28 points in the second quarter, 21 in the third. And there are the stats. 443 total yards.
Oh. Look, at the time of possession is about exactly the same. Shows you how quickly Houston can score and how inept San Antonio's offense is tonight.
Houston averages over 383 total yards a game, so they are well on their way to 500. Neuheisel going deep to Hackett. Bradley's with him. Hackett makes the catch. He's brought down at the 40-yard line, and that has been there all night, Mike.
It has. 6'5", 230. He's a pretty good athlete for a guy that big.
I think he goes about 20 more than 230.
I do, too. We're just going by what's listed on the shot. And again, Neuheisel knows who's getting open tonight. If it's not Robert Short, it's Hackett deep. Neuheisel makes a great throw. And there's the result. Nice catch by Joey Hackett. That's tough for a big man lumbering down the middle, keep his concentration when the ball hangs in the air that long.
And they'll give him a breather because James Hadnot, number 48, is checked in the game. 1st and 10 at the 39, 49-14. Slides at the 30. Andy Hawkins was the man that came across, and he'd be very close to that first down. Mike, what's the ruling now? Whether they're sliding feet first or going head first?
If they do the hook slide, you can't touch them. They're automatically down. You see this? He goes head first. He's still live game. So that was the right call. If he'd have hook slid and then Hawkins had jumped on him, it would have been a penalty.
2nd down and 1. Neuheisel's got to run it again, and he's got room to the outside. Spins out of bounds. Couldn't quite get there on his own. Will Lewis dragged him down.
He tried to make the same kind of move that Todd Dillon did. See if he could get in the end zone. He slipped inside and then out, but Lewis got him by the shirt and wouldn't let him go. Neuheisel figures, hey, you can't do that to me.
Andy Hawkins came in with a little slap at the face. And hey, come on, give me 49-14, guys. By the way, 54 points by Houston and by Birmingham last year, the USFL highs. And another TD, and that's another record. 1st and 10 at the 23. Swinging out to Roberts. He's going nowhere because right in his face was 59 Andy Hawkins. Look at Hawkins.
Yeah, remember, you burned me once before on the screen pass. I ain't going to fall for it twice. He was shaking his finger at the coaching sidelines at San Antonio saying, hey, just because you got me once, don't fall for it again. You can do those kind of things when you're up 48-14.
Yes, you can.
If it was a close game, they'd come right after Mr. Hawkins again.
12:36 left to go in this football game. Houston Gamblers will be moving on to the USFL playoffs. They have a game left next Monday night against Oakland right here in the Astrodome. Neuheisel going to Lockett, and nice deflection over there. Will Lewis was the man on the coverage, and he got a hand on it.
He doesn't tip that, Rod. Mr. Lockett's in the end zone. Take a look. Combination pattern. Roberts on the inside, trying to freeze the safety. Now watch Will Lewis just get a little bit of it, and it slips off the hands of Lockett.
Well, he made the decision that time to play the ball rather than the man. And it was the right one.
Sometimes that's a mistake, though.
No, I think Lockett would have made the reception if he had played him. It was a well-thrown ball.
True.
3rd and 16 at the 29. This is 4-down territory, folks, from here on out for San Antonio, right? They got a long bus ride back to the Alamo City after this one.
They did come down the bus.
Oh, that time Stamper was not even looking. Neuheisel had a lot of pressure coming in. Diayala was there, and he wanted to get rid of it, and he dumped it off to Stamper. And on a 4th down and 16, Rick will stay in there.
Field goal doesn't do you any good either. Touchdown doesn't do you much good.
Well, this is a 14-7 football game with about 1:40 to go in the half, and San Antonio decided, well, they'd try to sit on it for the rest of the half and
cost them 2 quick touchdowns.
Quicker than you can say Durwood Rockmore. They got 14 points. Or Kiki Diayala. 6th sack of the night of Rick Neuheisel, who obviously is not paid enough for the punishment he has taken this year. Only 11,780 on hand at the Astrodome, but they have been treated to an outstanding offensive show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
New quarterback, offensive lineman, not used to the snap count, not used to his rhythm.
You got a lot of new offensive linemen in there. Carl Allen's in the center. Scott Boucher's 60's in there. Brian Dawson, 72. 1st and 15. Johnson's in motion. Redgill's got it wide open on the other side. Oh, and he gets a block from Johnson, and he dives down to the 40, and it'll be close to the first down.
He's a threat to run the football. He's proved that so far. The lefty going out on the left side package, gets pressure. And I'll tell you what, he never looked to throw in 1 second. He's running all the way. Watch 22, Richard Johnson. You might see just a little bit of the block. There it is. And that gives him enough to get the first down.
Kill's got some quickness there.
Oh, yeah. Now, you didn't play the slot back position for nothing. You got to be able to run 4-5, 4-6 to get away with it.
Now, you got to watch this play because the offensive linemen on the left side are coming off that dirt portion of the infield, and San Antonio pointing fingers at Houston, and Houston pointing fingers at San Antonio. And when the finger pointing is said and done,
Defensive encroachment on the nose guard. First down.
That gives him a big break, gets him out of the dirt.
gives him the first down. So the USFL playoff picture is set now, with Houston being the last team in.
5 teams from the east, 3 from the west.
And as far as the conference champions,
Oakland, and to be
West
decided.
And Birmingham, New Jersey will play this Sunday. Fowler down to the 26-yard line. Reggie Oliver comes over to make the tackle. I think the Houston Gamblers might have a shot at going on 100 yards in rushing tonight.
They had 70 coming in at the half. And that's been the biggest disappointment. Maybe because of the injuries in the offensive line, maybe the injuries to Kelly, although they weren't running the ball well when Kelly was in there.
Second down and 1, clock running with 9:40 left to go in this game. Bruce Threadgill, the third-string quarterback, in there now. And Johnson will go in motion.
Penalty flags all over the place.
Yes, false start, head bob on the quarterback, number 7.
Who on me, Threadgill said? Hey, you can't do that. Once you get set under there, you can't bob your head to draw the defensive lineman off.
Well, you know there are those veteran quarterbacks who have...
Billy Kilmer could do it better than anybody I ever saw. Staubach do it once in a while, too.
The one I always liked was Bobby Douglas, the way he stepped out before he got the ball.
Yeah, he was moving before he even... bottom part of him, anyway.
But he was going backwards. So that was okay.
Legal,
right?
Absolutely. Can't be in motion when you're moving back. Yeah, you can't do the jerk of the head, though. That'll take the defensive lineman off every time.
2nd and 6 from the 31. Threadgill going down the middle. Intercepted.
Have to wait for the ruling. Did he catch it or not?
James got it. Larry James comes up with the interception at the 17-yard line. The officials had to go in and take a close look.
Maybe Bruce should have pulled it down and run. He's been very successful at that. He almost threw it to the linebacker, and then James comes right up in front, picks it off in front of Sean Potts.
And he held on to it. 49-14. Gamblers lead the Slingers. And we'll be dome right after this. And San Antonio will have it 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Just over 9 minutes left to go in this game. 49-14. Hackett, he's been wide open all night long. First down at the 29-yard line.
They've been blitzing a lot, double covering outside to take away Lockett and Jerry Gordon. And the linebackers have been held in a lot by Don Roberts because of the backs, and that'll open your tight end for you if you look for him.
Lou Heisel on first down. Will run it. And out of bounds at the 28-yard line. 2nd and 11. Lou Heisel, Jerry Gordon. He's got a first down, and Mitchell collars him at the 42-yard line. He got right back up.
They're in the hurry-up offense, too. No huddle. Where was this?
It's Freddie the Hammer Williamson.
Yes, it is.
Did Freddie ever put the hammer on you?
Oh, don't remind me.
First and 10. Neuheisel sacked again. He had two men around him. Cooks was one of the guys, and also Kiki Diayala. And we're looking at, what, about 7 sacks so far tonight? 7, 8?
That's the 7th. Kiki on the blitz, up the middle. Cleveland Crosby gets a little bit of move on him, too. Oh, I call that a fumble. Instead of 49-14, we'll call him in the grass, and then he fumbled afterwards. How's that?
Sounds good to me. The last couple of weeks, the Houston defense actually has played some pretty good football. Had not the intended receiver, and Mike Hawkins got a hand on it, knocked it down. Good coverage that time. Mike was up front, and Luther Bradley behind, and Neuheisel knocked down one more time. Penalty marker down.
Well, they roughed the backfield. They roughed Rick Neuheisel, I believe. That's 15 yards and first down.
I think Rick will give real serious consideration to law school after this season.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you. He's had a rough ride.
Originally from Phoenix.
Right? His mom still lives there.
What he said, Mike, UCLA. Had a sister who was a cheerleader over there, too.
He said, Mike, say hi to my mom. She loves that when you do it. So, hi, Mom. Phoenix from Rick.
First and 10, and Neuheisel hit again. He has taken a beating tonight. There's really no reason to leave Neuheisel in there. They got one more game to play against Portland. He's been sacked 7 times. He's been dumped. He's been hit hard. You got Whit Taylor. You got Fred Mortensen. How bad can they do trailing 49-14?
By the way, Whit Taylor got the job at Vanderbilt as the quarterback coach for the fall.
Outstanding.
Congratulations to Whit. I know you'll be working in the fall like a lot of your friends won't be.
Second and 10. Just over 7 minutes left to go in this game. Neuheisel, Lockett, first down. Lockett still on his feet. And at the 19-yard line, Dennis Devon finally makes a tackle.
Nobody wanted Lockett. Houston,
maybe they thought he'd fall down or something.
Houston is as disinterested as San Antonio. Neuheisel moving around, buying himself some time to get somebody open on the crossing pattern. There, Will Lewis had a hold of him. He tried to strip the ball out. That's what it was, instead of make the tackle. And Mike Mitchell misses it.
First and 10 at the 19. Going to Lockett. Got it at the 1. And once again, Neuheisel flat on his back, courtesy of number 62, Tony Fitzpatrick.
Tell Rick they don't hit you in the courtroom.
I hope he gets that last check.
There's Neuheisel again, paying for completion. Quarterbacks, I'll bet, half the time never get to see the guy catch the ball. They're flat on their back. It's a nice catch by Lockett. Good route, too. 1 foot down, 2 feet down. Good job.
First and goal from the 2-yard line, 49-14.
Why does 49-21 sound better than 49-14? 7 points, I guess. I guess when you get in the 20s, it doesn't make it sound as bad.
Stamper. He's short. The thing this does is it keeps the clock running. Just over 6 minutes left to go.
You gotta like San Antonio. They could have gone in the tank a long time ago. Here they are. Big long drive. Gonna get in the end zone.
Stamper, touchdown. Scott Stamper touchdown of the year.
3 backs in the backfield. That means you have 2 lead blockers and your normal offensive line blocking. There's the 2 lead blockers. Stamper right behind them. Pulls into the end zone, but the surge was done by the offensive line and the 2 lead blockers. Here's another good look. Larry Canada with a good block inside.
And Mickemeyer to attempt the point after. And it's good. So with 5:36 left to go in this game, it's the Gamblers 49 and the Slingers 21. Little onside kick here with 5:36 to go. Why not? Now Mickemeyer just screams it down the middle. Corville picks it up. He was in good position for the return. Goes to the outside and runs it out of bounds at the 46-yard line. So Bruce Threadgill will try to get the Gamblers over the 50-point mark when we return to the Astrodome in Houston. 49-21, the Gamblers with the lead. Mike, we look ahead to next week, this Monday night game you'll be back for. I'll be on the golf circuit, but it's Oakland and Houston. You remember earlier this year, Houston beat Oakland 42-7. So I think, even though the game doesn't really have any meaning, a little psychological inspiration for the Oakland Invaders. Threadgill. Oh, is he in trouble? Now he gets out of it. He has got all sorts of room on the far side, and he's got Corville wide open. Oh, no. He doesn't go to Corville. He goes to Mark Perouse. Well, he had both of them wide open. If he would have found Corville, he would have had a touchdown.
That's right. Threadgill did this all by himself. Defense figure, especially the secondary, he's going to get sacked. He's in all kinds of trouble. They're going to get him from the backside. Then he makes a quick move to get out.
Great peripheral vision.
Yeah, I think it was a great guess. Unless he got eyes in the back of his head. And there wasn't anybody around when he threw it. And there's the result. And as you said, Corville was down the field even farther, wide open.
Nobody was there. And Bruce makes the reception. The ball is inside the 15. Clock's running, 4:29. They're over 500 yards tonight. 517 yards total offense. 1st and 10. Make it the 14-yard line. Going to hand it to Sean Potts. And he trips. He gets a couple. Coming up, final game of the year in the regular season, June 24th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Western Conference champs, the Oakland Invaders, will try to avenge their worst showing of the year, 42-7 earlier this season.
Both teams already clinched, but incentive on both sides. Invaders would like to get a little revenge for getting beat, and I think Dylan would like to say, hey, can I do it again so I can go into the playoffs and give Kelly another week's rest?
And get on a roll. Look at that total yardage, 519. 2nd and 8. Threadgill intercepted in the end zone, and it's that man once again, Larry James, his 2nd interception
of a Threadgill pass.
So the last 2 possessions for Houston, Larry James is coming. There's Bill Bradley over to offer his congratulations.
Not a bad DB in Texas in his day.
With the Eagles.
Yeah. Another look. And again, if you haven't played in the game time, he let it slip over the top a little bit. He had a man open, Sean Potts. So James was even more wide open when he gets it there. Nice grab by James.
I don't know who he was going for.
He was coming underneath. He couldn't see him. He threw it a little late and a little high, and James was right there. So Neuheisel gets it again.
Well, Rick, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Hey, he's getting paid the most. This owner likes to keep him out on the field to earn their money.
Only guy in 6 figures on the team, right?
Right.
Throws it underneath. That's Hagan, a big fullback. Mike Hagan out of Montana. And he's up to the 34-yard line. Clock running with 3:17 left to go. Both teams with all their timeouts left.
White 82 is the call. That means going outside. 80s are wide receivers. Tight end running an underneath pattern. Gonna get
Look out, Rick. Look out.
Help you, Andy.
Drag down. Mike Hawkins. 9. We got him unofficially 9 sacks tonight.
They get the blitz coming this time. Neuheisel knows that he's looking for somebody to throw too quickly. Hagen didn't come out of the backfield because he had to pick up the blitz. And you get trouble then. Second the bunch.
Let's go.
8 sacks, Roger. Got him for 49 on the year, and once again Hawkins is in there, strips it loose, ball's rolling. Houston comes up with it. Cooks, Rayford Cooks, falls on it. So 49 sacks on the year, 8 tonight, and the ball stripped loose that time. And Cooks is still down on the ground, and Neuheisel, steady performance. Excuse me, that is Andy Hawkins, who also was going for that fumble.
Neuheisel again under tremendous pressure. He knows he's in trouble early. There's Mike Hawkins' brother. He's the one who knocked the ball away. Now let's see what happens to Andy. Andy gets caught up trying to chase that football down and gets sandwiched in between two guys. And he's still down on the ground. Knock the wind out of him, maybe?
Well, it looks like they're looking at his right arm, right shoulder. 2:28 left to go, and they will tend to Andy Hawkins. Here's what's happening. Week number 18 of the regular season. LA and Orlando, see you after that. That's it. They'll take some time off, or who knows. Arizona at Memphis. Arizona out of playoff picture.
Heck of a run, though, at the end.
They finished strong, and a win would give them a 9-9 record. And then Sunday, the big game, Birmingham at New Jersey.
That's for the Eastern Conference title.
Denver at Jacksonville, and Jacksonville with the victory by Houston is out of it. Portland at San Antonio. Dick Corey's team has played well the final few weeks of the season.
Another look to see how Andy Hawkins hurt himself. Mike is the one that stripped. Brother strips it out. Now watch. He probably puts his arm down there to get after it and gets it crunched. Now it's hard to tell, but you can see him grab it.
Maybe the wrist.
Yeah.
9 sacks now. Jerry Argovitz, the managing partner of the Gamblers. So 50 sacks on the year, and we got 36 interceptions. Threadgill off the hands of Scott McGee. Jack Pardee and Todd Dillon. Boy, Jack, he couldn't emphasize enough how much they needed this win. And really a convincing victory, too.
Sure. You don't want to have to go into the Invader game having to win without your first-string quarterback in order to get in the playoffs. You get beaten, Jacksonville beats Denver, and you're not in the playoffs. And that would be a big surprise for this team.
2:08 left to go. Second and 10. Ball at the 28-yard line. The 30-second clock is not functioning, so the officials will keep that time with their stopwatches down in the field. Well, Bruce Threadgill has thrown a couple of interceptions. He's shown us some great scrambling ability.
Maybe he ought to not throw it at all.
But he has not been getting a lot of work in practice because Dillon has needed that work.
Right.
Inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. And it's a first down. And we've reached the 2-minute warning. (49-21). We'll be back for the conclusion of this game from the Astrodome right after this. Roger Twibell, Mike Hafner back with you at the Astrodome. 2 minutes left to go. First and 10 at the 14-yard line. Bruce Threadgill, the third-string quarterback for the Gamblers, and Houston with 533 yards total offense tonight.
See if he can keep him throwing the intercept here.
Sean Potts got some blockers. Down to the 5-yard line. And close to a first down.
I think if it had gone outside, he might have scored.
He had the blockers out there.
I think that's where they were.
They mark it right at the 5. He'd be just shy of the first down. Sean Potts, one of those wide receivers that doesn't see quite that much action. Second-year man from Bowling Green. Todd Fowler. Oh, he is stuck at the 4-yard line. Punch show. Makes the tackle, and they'll probably have to check that out to see if that's enough for a first down. And they're going to say no, third down. These are the playoff qualifiers. Oakland, Birmingham, Denver, New Jersey. New Jersey 11-6, Birmingham 12-5. Big game coming up Sunday at the Meadowlands. Memphis, Tampa Bay, Houston, and Baltimore.
What a comeback by Baltimore, huh?
And, you know, the last game, we say, well, no meaning, but that could change positioning. Sure. Right? Winning or losing that last game as far as who they would play in the playoffs. 33 seconds. Third down and 1. Just inside the 5. Fowler. That'll stop the clock. And they don't get the play off, and that'll do it. The Houston Gamblers have qualified for the United States Football League playoffs. They have defeated the San Antonio Gunslingers by the final count of 49-21 as Todd Dillon threw 4 touchdown passes, and he ran for 1. Todd Dillon, 4 touchdown passes and a 36-yard touchdown run as he leads the Gamblers to a 49-21 victory over San Antonio. For Mike Hafner, I'm Roger Twyble. Thanks for being with us.